Okay, hello. In this video, I want to summarize basically all the important things that I learned from Huberman's dopamine video, and I think it's really important for you, and it's really valuable knowledge to know what does dopamine do in your body and why it's so important, and why it's so important not to fuck up your dopamine levels. Okay, what does it do in your body? It's basically it's like this. Mm, how would I put it? This universal like currency that you pay for every action you take, and it's responsible for your motivation, for your feelings, for your mood, how you are feeling right now. This like equally correlated with the amount of dopamine you have in your body, and how will you be feeling in the future, and how much pleasure you get from things you do. That's everything related to dopamine. Okay, what is important? Important part of this is that you usually have like this baseline of your dopamine that's floating in your system all the time that you can use. But what happens when you partake in some action that spikes it up really much? For example, like porn, drugs, even junk food, and video games. All of these things, they basically do this they spike up dopamine really high, and you will get like this peak. It's like everything has this different amount, but it spikes it up really much, and you feel great, motivated, everything's great. But then you crash below your baseline, and it fucks you up, and you feel you then feel like shit, totally depressed, totally unable to do anything, and you want to avoid that as much as possible because you want to leverage the dopamine for things that you want to do and you know you should be doing, but instead of them you are doing like of these some all of these easy stimulating things. I want you to really think about like the important part is the difference between the peaks and baseline, and what happens if you partake in these actions regularly, regu, uh, what the fuck, regularly, whatever. If you partake in these actions like many times in a day, it's you move your baseline so much up and up and up every time you do it that when the peak happens, it's like the difference between the baseline and peak it's not that high, so you won't even get as much pleasure as you used to, and that's basically how addiction starts. So what you should really do is things. I want to think about it like instant versus delayed gratification. You need to do more things that are painful now but will be rewarding later, instead of doing things that are rewarding now and will be painful later, because there's always price to pay for doing these actions. Okay. Mm, and also, this is also a very important part that I took from the Huberman video, is that your mood is equal to difference between your levels of baseline dopamine now and levels in recent events, even like days ago. So if you for example like smoke weed or watch porn daily, you will feel like shit all the time. And I personally experienced this many times, and I did lots of shit. I didn't even do like one of the things. I did almost all of them. I I had days when I started math, I was awake for like 2 days straight, fucked up as shit. Then I felt totally depressed, totally like a failure, totally unmotivated to do anything. So I smoked some weed. Yeah, it felt good for a while, but then it didn't feel as good. Like, no shit. So I played some video games, and I did this all day, every day, and I basically got to a point where I depleted all of my dopamine in my body, and I had this like constant feelings of depression and fucking dread, and I wanted to fucking kill myself many times. So it's really not it's not that it's really something serious you should think about, and you should avoid like this state when you have no dopamine in your body because you won't get anywhere. Your goals you can forget about them. So fuck that shit and avoid anything that's really addictive. Addictive. Avoid porn, drugs, even video games is are I think really bad for you. Junk food also. I used to I used to also eat a lot of junk food, and I was basically eating it only for the sake of the dopamine peak, but then it stopped working. And what I then like what I came to was that I got really fucking fat because I was eating so much fucking calories only for the pleasure part and not for the satiating part. So I ate so much junk food that didn't satiate me at all with almost no nutrition, and I ended up fat as fuck. So yeah, avoid this shit. I want to always think about your actions like this. You have this like present action that you do, and you have to think, how is it going to affect me in the future? Because it will affect you. So every time you like watch porn, or do some drugs, or eat junk food, or play video games, the next things you do after that, or even the next day, if you do it at night, they will be really boring, and they won't motivate you. You won't be motivated to do them at all. So if you want to feel motivation from things that are hard, you need to avoid all of these like easy instant gratification stimulus. So like porn, junk food, video games, drugs, etc., etc. And also, what's really bad about addiction is it narrows your sphere of things that you take pleasure from. So if, for example, you do drugs all the time, you will then only feel pleasure from doing drugs. But the main thing about this shit is that in the end you won't even feel pleasure even from them. And that's like when you get to this low dopaminergic state, when you feel like shit and you want to kill yourself basically. So you don't want to get into that. So avoid all these things. You will do yourself a favor. Okay. Now, how to actually leverage your dopamine to do hard things. It's really slow process, but when you get the hang of it, it's really rewarding. It's great. It's totally can recommend it. What you basically want to do is instead of like doing some hard task that you are supposed to do, instead of doing it for instead of saying to yourself that you want to do this for your goal, you need to do it for the work itself. You need to when it's like the hardest, you need to say to yourself, okay, this fucking sucks, but I I'm doing it so I can do it more in the future and feel pleasure from it. Not because you have some goal or some shit. Because when you do that, you actually take away like your dopamine response for the activity you are doing right now. So, for example, if you go to gym, you should be going to gym just because you want to work out, not because you want to have great body or some goal like that. It may be great at the beginning, but if you go to the gym all the time with this mindset of like, yeah, I'm doing this for my great body, for this like great goal. It actually takes away the pleasure for part of your workout. And that's actually when I heard this part in the video, it really clicked for me, like, because I do my workouts without any phones or without any distractions and without any anything that spikes up your dopamine. And I really enjoy it actually. I do it for the sake of doing it, and it feels great. I don't really need to get motivated to go to the gym because I like it there. I like to work out, and I think you can cultivate this mindset with everything you do. You just have to like, because the great thing about this dopamine that is that in your brain you have this like connections in your parts of the brain that the dopamine influences. And one of the parts of it is prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for rational thinking. So you can actually tell yourself to like certain things even if you don't like them at the start. And I think that's really like powerful message you should take from this, is that you can, by thinking, start liking things that you don't like right now, or that you are afraid of right now. So always do the work for the sake of the work, and do the hardest things at the start of your day. That's the advice I can give you. And also, there's something I want to mention about this whole dopamine shit. You should start doing cold showers. It helps you really great, because the great cold showers are really exceptional in the terms of dopamine with this shit. You remember how I told you about the fucking peaks and baselines? Well, always you have something that spikes it up, it drops below the baseline, and you feel like shit. With cold showers, that's not the case. There are actually exceptions, or like any cold exposure, ice baths, or some shit like that. Spikes it up, but it lasts for many hours. The spike, so you will feel focused and calm in this state of elevated mind, and you can actually do some of your work. So try cold showers, even if you like can last even 30 seconds in them. You should try it and get slowly used to it. I'm basically like showering myself in cold water for like 5 years now, and it's greatest shit ever. For me, when you say shower, I don't even think about hot water. I only think about cold. So, and what is also really important thing you should do is avoid lights at night. It fucks up your circadian rhythm, and also fucks up your baseline of dopamine. So around, I want you to really dim your lights in the night, or end don't go to sleep as late. Like around 10 p.m. is the maximum you should be fucking asleep, I think. And the reason is because even if you dim the lights on a computer or on your phone or whatever, the eyes get more sensitive as the day goes on. So when it's like 10 p.m., your eyes are really sensitive. So even a little bit of light, even if it's dimmed, even if it's like blue light filter, it will fuck up your circadian rhythm, and you won't be able to wake up earlier, and you won't be able to go to sleep in earlier. So think about it and avoid light at night. Also, one thing you should try also is, and it helped me greatly, is intermittent fasting. It, I think it's like one thing mm, you should, how is the fucking word? Mm, hmm. One thing you should, like, what the fuck? Uh, you should try in your diet. Yeah, something like that. No, whatever. You should try the intermittent fasting because it's great for your body, and it builds discipline, and it's like really great practice for this work for the sake of work mindset, because when you start trying it, it's really hard at the start because you are used to eating so much food. But when you do it long enough, you actually enjoy the fast so much that you are prolonging the window of your fast more and more. Like right now, I usually eat something like my last meal is something around 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. and the next meal after that is around 2 p.m. next day, and I feel fucking great. Like you get this like heightened 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 sense of focus and like clear mindedness when you are fasted because your body won't have to digest all the shit that you are eating. So you should try it at first for like small amounts, like just skip breakfast, and have lunch like at 12 p.m. That's enough, I think. And don't eat at night, man, or even in the evening. Like after after 8 p.m., don't fucking eat, please. You will do yourself a favor. You won't even feel sleep as good if you eat in that time period because the blood will flow in your stomach and in your gut and not so much in your brain, so you won't even feel that relaxed and you won't even get good sleep. So give intermittent fasting a try. It's great. I can only recommend it. I basically do all my hardest work when I'm fasted now, and it also builds your discipline. Yeah, that's that's like all the things. The no, that's all the benefits that you should think about. So to summarize this shit, basically, what you need to take away from this video is avoid any activity that spikes up your dopamine, like above baseline, way above baseline. Things like drugs, porn, video games. What the fuck is there even? Yeah, junk food, everything that you just cut it out as much as you can from your life, or completely. Actually, man, always think about your actions, how your actions you take now influence your levels of dopamine in future. Think about that always, and yeah, do cold showers. That's important, and do intermittent fasting. That's also important. Always, always take when you take choices. Always take pain now and pleasure later instead of pleasure now and pain later, and just enjoy challenges in general. Because I think challenges are really great when you can cultivate this mindset of leveraging your dopamine. You will then feel motivated even if something is hard, and that's basically how you get shit done in your life. So think about that. And I think that's everything for this video. You can also watch the whole video. I got all this information from in the description. Okay, and yeah, ciao. Never stop trying.